When you're staring down a long recording, the very first hurdle to making snackable clips is usually dealing with wildly inconsistent volumes. It's a super common issue where one person is eating the mic while the other sounds like they're calling in from the next room. So the big question we have to answer is, how do we glue these uneven pieces together so the final output sounds cohesive? Let's start by picturing a common scenario. A really loud chunk at the beginning, followed by an abrupt drop in audio level halfway through the conversation. If you select that entire messy track, a lot of creators immediately jump to the normalize function to fix the inconsistency. Normalizing is great because it sets a predictable maximum peak level across the entire file, bringing everything to a consistent starting point. However, you almost never want to set that peak to 0 dBFS, which is literally hitting the digital ceiling and risking harsh clipping. I personally recommend aiming for a safe peak ceiling, something like -1 dB, to maintain a little crucial headroom. Once you've normalized, you'll notice the loudest moments are now sitting near your ceiling, but the quietest parts are still, well, frustratingly quiet. This naturally leads us to the next powerful tool people reach for: dynamic range compression. Compression works by squashing those loud peaks, effectively pulling them down so they sit closer in volume to those quieter sections. Most editing programs offer factory presets like Podcast or Vocal Bright, which are decent starting points for getting your feet wet. Key to compression are two main settings: the threshold, which dictates where the compressor starts working, and the ratio, which defines how hard it squashes. If you set a very low threshold, the tool will catch even small volume fluctuations, whereas a high threshold only grabs the truly massive peaks. For ratios, think of 2:1 as a light touch, 4:1 as a medium squeeze, and anything higher is getting pretty aggressive with the sound shaping. After applying a medium compressor following that initial normalize step, you'll see the peaks noticeably pull back in their range. Then, you normalize everything one more time to bring the entire newly leveled track back up so it sits nicely inside your viewing meters. You can rinse and repeat this process a few times, and you will absolutely achieve a much more even overall audio presentation. But here is the significant catch to all this repeated boosting. You inevitably raise the background noise floor along with the dialogue. That unavoidable room hum, that subtle hiss, or any ambient sound suddenly becomes much more noticeable when you keep pushing the whole file louder. Soon enough, you'll hear that unwanted noise sitting right under the entire middle section, making your clean dialogue sound unexpectedly gritty. That is precisely why I often advocate for splitting the original clip into distinct segments right where the level shifts happen. If you have a clearly loud part and a significantly quiet part, treat them as two independent files rather than one continuous headache. You would then normalize and lightly compress that quieter segment just enough to bring it up to match the louder initial piece. By normalizing each piece independently, you successfully prevent the noise floor from being boosted across the entire recording session. Yes, this method can feel manual and fiddly, requiring you to spend more time cutting and tweaking individual takes. But this detailed control is exactly what keeps your background ambiance from polluting the entire final product. This entire manual struggle is exactly why getting your levels right at the very source matters so much in the first place. If both speakers are recorded close to the same loudness from the jump, you save yourself hours of this tedious cleanup fight later on. Take a moment to set gain structure, check mic placement, and confirm your call settings before you ever press that record button. Now, let's briefly touch on tools. Free software like Audacity is awesome, but it forces you into this very manual dance. You'll be clicking through effects, guessing at settings, and constantly undoing actions when the resulting audio just sounds completely off. Other modern apps can offer cleaner interfaces and some automation, but they often focus heavily on long-form podcast production and hosting. These are fantastic if you need end-to-end production in one spot, but they miss the mark if your main goal is rapid clip creation. This is where specialized tools built for short-form content transformation, like Vizard, really start to shine incredibly brightly. Instead of manually applying normalize, compressing, splitting, and tagging every single moment, Vizard analyzes the whole video intelligently. It automatically finds the sections that are statistically likely to perform well and creates ready-to-post clips without you lifting a finger. This isn't just one simple passive light compression across the whole file. It's intelligent per-clip processing based on the content. Crucially, this means the loud bits aren't overcompressed, and the quiet bits don't get unnecessarily buried deep within the resulting noise floor. It essentially automates the exact manual workflow we just walked through, but it does so with a level of smart, targeted precision. The practical difference is huge. Manual work means you tweak, split, compress, and then still have to manually finesse every single resulting clip. With Vizard, the AI selects the highlights, splits, levels them individually, adds captions, and formats the aspect ratio for you. This gets you a folder full of short videos that are already almost entirely ready for publishing across all your various social channels. You successfully avoid that common trap of overcompressing an entire hour just to make one 10-second clip sound acceptable. Let's look at a few features creators find genuinely useful every single day when trying to stay consistent online. The auto-editing function scans your long session and automatically pulls out the high-engagement moments like strong punches or emotional beats. You completely skip the tedious manual work of hunting through hours of footage just to find that one killer soundbite. The auto-schedule feature is another massive time saver, letting you tell the system how often you want content to go out. The tool then queues up and publishes those short clips for you, meaning you don't have to babysit your channels manually every day. Furthermore, the content calendar keeps everything organized in one central location, which is incredibly valuable for planning. You can drag and drop to make adjustments, bulk edit metadata, and push content across platforms without switching between multiple apps. Compare that to the old pipeline of hours spent clipping, exporting, uploading, and scheduling separately for 3 or 4 different places. Vizard drastically reduces that friction and the overall time cost associated with maintaining a high-volume content presence. But let's get back to audio quality, because when Vizard makes a clip, it treats that snippet as its own totally unique audio asset. This means normalization, gentle compression, and denoising are applied specifically to that clip's needs, not the whole file's weaknesses. You fundamentally avoid that destructive flatten everything problem, where heavy compression sucks the life out of all your dynamic range. If one clip requires a little extra level balancing, the system does it without accidentally lifting the noise floor across the entire source episode. That subtle difference in how noise is managed is actually a huge indicator of overall professional audio quality in the final product. And please understand, compressors are definitely useful tools when used correctly for stylistic reasons or for seating voices together. However, too much of it makes voices sound lifeless, overly processed, and it leaks room sound into every single quiet moment. Whenever I can, I much prefer splitting segments and keeping those natural dynamics alive, using compression only when truly necessary. That selective, targeted approach is what ultimately gives your short clips genuine personality and presence. One last practical manual tip. Watch those meters closely while you adjust the threshold and ratio settings in real time. High ratios combined with low thresholds often result in that flat, completely lifeless sound we are actively trying to avoid. Always favor lighter ratios and only compress the dynamic range that actually requires that slight reduction in volume. And critically, always leave a sliver of headroom. Never push those final peaks right up to the absolute 0 mark on your display. That tiny bit of extra space is essential insurance against distortion if platforms re-encode your video upon final upload. But let's be honest, if you don't want to become an audio engineering specialist just to make short content, Vizard handles this complex lifting for you. It finds your viral snippets, levels each one perfectly in isolation, adds smart captions, and prepares the final exports for TikTok and Reels. For creators who are limited on time but need to be extremely prolific, that level of automation truly changes the entire equation. The reality is there is no single perfect workflow that fits every single person who creates content today. For those who crave deep tactile control, the manual route in Audacity or a full DW remains incredibly satisfying and precise. But for teams or individuals needing to publish consistently at scale, the automation that extracts and schedules is simply the superior choice. Vizard finds that excellent sweet spot, offering reliable automatic clip generation while keeping all the fine-tuning power available if you need it. So, what is my absolute best recommended workflow for turning long audio into usable short assets? First, capture your source material with levels set perfectly. Speakers matching volume and microphones placed optimally before recording begins. If you already have that messy file, you have 2 main options. Either go full manual or delegate the heavy lifting to automation. Option 1 means splitting, normalizing lightly per segment, compressing gently, applying noise reduction, and then assembling your clips. Option 2 involves uploading that long video to Vizard, letting it find the highlights, reviewing the suggestions, and then hitting publish or setting up auto schedule. For any creator striving for both consistency and high output, Option 2 will honestly save you entire days of editing time every single month. Even if you choose automation, Vizard still retains the crucial ability for you to jump in and manually tweak any clip's audio or text edits. All right, that brings us to the end of our session on levels, compression, and efficiently turning long recordings into tidy, high-quality clips. If you want to practice the manual steps, remember to normalize, compress lightly per segment, and always use noise reduction as your very last process. But if your main goal is maximum speed, scale, and avoiding the constant headache of boosting unnecessary room noise, then definitely try an auto clip tool. Using something like Vizard has saved me countless personal hours and kept my content feed consistently high quality without consuming my entire afternoon. For more actionable tips on audio cleanup, improving your recording setups, and maximizing your interview content, make sure you stick around for the next videos. And finally, If you're serious about building a content system that doesn't demand all your time be spent on editing, check out Vizard to see how it revolutionizes your pipeline. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive, and I genuinely hope to catch you in the next helpful tutorial.